All the excitement and festivities of the Indy 250 week for 2024 have been completed, and now we're back on schedule here in the Herr Sprint Series, back on a Wednesday night, and back on a very interesting racetrack. We are here for the Herr Sprint Series for Sprint Series night in America, and we are here at the Gateway to the West. This is the Gateway Motorsports Park, or World Wide Technology Raceway as it's commonly known now. We're here for the Illinois 100, the 18th race of the season here in the Herr Sprint Series. Hello everybody, this is AG here, and welcome to the Gateway Motorsports Park. I keep referring to it as that, even though it's World Wide Technology Raceway at Gateway, but that's just too much. We're just going to call it Gateway, and y'all know what this place is. A very high-speed, short track, 1.25 miles long, very long straightaways, but they really have to slow it down going into these corners. It's going to be a very fascinating race for these guys, especially considering this is the shortest race of the season in the Herr Sprint Series, or close to it at least. Only 20 laps here around this Gateway International Raceway, whatever it used to be called. Only 20 laps here around Gateway. And we're going to be out of here in a jiffy here for the Illinois 100. And we're joined alongside a driver in the World Wide Cup Series who's had a pretty solid year over there as well. Hey, great to have you back in the booth. It's Daniel Paulus Jr. And Daniel, you've had a good season over there in the World Wide Cup Series. You raced here last year at Gateway. What do these guys need to do here tonight, with this being such a short race, to get up to the front and get this race victory in the Illinois 100?
Oh, yeah, I'm glad to be back in the broadcast booth, and I'm going to be more in the broadcast booth now that we're again halfway through the World Wide Cup Series season. But, you know, the World Wide Cup Series season is going excellent this year for me at Trackhouse, and we're looking forward to getting more wins. And some breaking news for you, AG, I will be back with Trackhouse next season, so my seat is solidified for next season at 24. But tonight, it's going to be an exciting night here at Gateway. We're going to see drivers using different lanes, but my expectations for this race is we might see one lane being used more often than the other, and that's going to be using that inside line. But later on in that run, look for those drivers to move up to that outside lane.
It's going to be very interesting to see how these guys work out, and that was news to me. As long as you do all the ratings and the chase and all that, you'll be good to go. And hey, you already done them 10 times this year. All you got to do is once during the chase, and all Reggie has to do is once during the chase, and then boom, you're good to go. So excited to see you back there. And hey, how about Trackhouse Racing? They got the front row locked here in this race with Zayden Davidson in the 99, who had the fastest time at Charlotte last week, and then Nathan Faden in the 1, who had the second fastest time. So there's a very good chance that Trackhouse Racing could go to victory lane here tonight in this race. We're just going to have to see if that ends up being the case. But here's how I line up in the point standings, and I think one of the bigger things about this race, particularly tonight, is Alex NR missed the sign-ups for this one, and now the sign-ups for this were a week and a half ago on a Sunday night, and I do apologize for that being an odd time, obviously with me going to Indy and trying to manage getting this race recorded and everything. That's when it had to be. So obviously tonight we got signups from Montreal. It's all back in order again once we're done with this one here tonight. But Juan Romero is going to have an opportunity to really pull away in this championship now that Alex NR is not in tonight's race. He's 11 points behind, but not competing in tonight's event. Brandon Nelson's 21 points behind. Vinnie Scholes is back, however. She's back behind the wheel. She's 30 points behind coming into this race. Corey Case, on the other hand, is not in this race tonight, I don't think. I actually might be wrong about that. No, he is. He is in that 25 machine. My bad. Never mind. There were a lot of different names and signups. I didn't even run the signups, and I jump into this and I have no clue what's going on. Thank you, Caleb, for running the signups every week for the Sprint Series. I don't know what I'd do without you, but hey, regardless of the fact, we got a lot of guys in this race who would love to get a race victory, especially after Indy 250 week. All the excitement, all the buzz of that is now done, and now we're really in the home stretch to the end of the season here. We're just past halfway for the Sprint Series, and these guys, they got to, if they want a chance at the championship, they got to start beating Juan Romero here, because that number 87, 3 wins on the season, and a couple of those wins have come on the short tracks, and even though this is a pretty big racetrack, it still acts like a short track, a chassis-type short track for these guys. We'll have to see if that plays in Romero's favor, but we got the 99 of Zayden Davidson starting on the pole, alongside Nathan Faden there in row number 1. Dylan Matthews, and the 02 is Andrew Williams this week. We got the 80 of Joey Brown to the inside of Juan Romero in the 87 machine. Chris Reynolds back in there in the 52, to the inside of our last race winner of Josh Petty, who got the win at Charlotte last week. 69 machine, that is Michael Lewis to the inside of Brandon Nelson. Baltazar Steep and the 13 is Aaron Abel. Duncan Ward in the 53, and then Corey Case in the 25. Christian Master, Anthony McClure. The 90 machine this week, that is Carson Miller to the inside of Skylar Taylor. And then got Santiago Labrito and 5 drivers who were not in last week's race, including Eric Monaco back in the 4, who won at Oregon a couple weeks ago. 64 machine of Zach Winkle. Great to have Zach Winkle back behind the wheel. There's Vinny Scholes in the 93, and then a couple of drivers making their first career starts here tonight. 96, Jonathan Stanowski, and then the 50 of Matt Grice. And I had to say, when I saw Jonathan Stanowski sign up, I thought it was Jonathan Skivnicki, and if you've been around on the channel long enough, you know who Jonathan Skivnicki is, a longtime friend of mine from back in the day. But it's not. Jonathan Stanowski, and we welcome you here. Hopefully you have a good run here tonight in the Illinois 100 from the Gateway Motorsports Park. And these guys are going to roll off here. 20 laps here tonight, Daniel. Who do you think is going to get the job done here at the Gateway Motorsports Park?
Well, if you want my honest opinion, I'm going to have to go with Trackhouse Racing's #1 of Nathan Faden here. Been very, very good here in the Sprint Series this season. And look, he's starting on the front row, so I expect big things out of him here tonight.
We're going to have to see what Nathan Faden can do. Of course, got the win at Texas a couple of months ago, and that's a good start, or a good place to start here at the Gateway International Raceway. I'm sorry I'm calling it 5 different names here. World Wide Technology Raceway at Gateway. This does not ring a bell with me with this racetrack, even though that is, as you'll see, what it is called on the backstretch there. Thanks to Herr for putting that there to remind us that I'm calling this racetrack by the wrong name. We're just going to call it Gateway. It's Gateway. We all know it is Gateway. We're here in the St. Louis area here for the Illinois 100. Now, tomorrow's race, the AAA Missouri 300. As I will say again, that race is sponsored by AAA Missouri specifically. It's not the Missouri 300 sponsored by AAA. It's AAA Missouri, which is the branch of AAA that services Southern Illinois. I always have to explain that because, yes, I am very well aware that this racetrack is, in fact, in Illinois. Hence why this is the Illinois 100. And 20 laps for these guys here in the Herr Sprint Series on a Wednesday night. It's Sprint Series night in America once again. Zayden Davidson going for his second win of the season. Same with Nathan Faden. Let's see what they can do here as we're green flag racing here in St. Louis.
In the field now, making their way down the back straightaway. Nathan Faden holding on very strong here on that outside line, and he has the edge.
We got the 99 Zayden Davidson trying to hold that inside lane on his teammate. Dylan Matthews right there. Of course, he was in the Indy 250. Ran fairly well in that race on Saturday. Nathan Faden trying to get that outside lane that worked to his advantage, but it will be Davidson leading lap #1 here in this Illinois 100. So good jump there for the Trackhouse Racing team, and Faden really diving it in there into the corner, trying to get some bit of an advantage there on his teammate. The more they stay side by side, the more they'll keep these guys right behind them, but Faden getting a little loose there off the exit of the corner, and Dylan Matthews going for second place on him.
That's going to cost him there. Now dropping back to third for the 1 of Nathan Faden, but that 39 of Dylan Matthews, he is all over the 99 of Zane Davis. I mean, look at this.
That was a tight one right there, but she had to get out of it right there in the 39 just a little bit, and Davidson going to be able to hold on. Of course, Davidson got the win at Dover earlier in the season. Had that pretty awesome battle with Leonard Kochmer in that race, and we'll have to see if the tire wear comes into effect here tonight. And you know what? It definitely will come into effect at some point. Obviously, you have to have those fresh Goodyears going through the corner. And those drivers who can save their tires a little bit more than the others will definitely have the advantage at the end of this race, no doubt about it. But Dylan Matthews, if she can stick with this 99 here, and she may actually have a shot right here, getting to the inside. Here we go. There's some grip there on that outside lane, however, and Davidson's going to remain out front for now here in the Illinois 100.
But you want to be very, very careful here. You not want to use your tire wear up right away because it's not going to help you towards the end of this race. There is the 52 of Chris Reynolds in that wonderful M&M's machine. Making me a little hungry for M&M's, but sitting there comfortably in third place now.
And Chris Reynolds has had a pretty solid season as well. Not the best of runs at Charlotte last week. He fell back a little bit in that race, but only 39 points behind. And I know Chris would love to get his first win of the season on the channel, and he's got a good opportunity of doing that. Nathan Faden, oh boy, the commentator's curse is real. I should have warned you, Daniel, that you were going to curse whoever you picked in this one, because that's what everyone does here on the channel. Nathan Faden falling back even more. He's under fire there from Baltazar Steep, and Andrew Williams up here as well in the 02 machine. You got Michael Lewis, Joey Brown. How about Carson Miller in the 90 machine? Got a lot of passing going on out here throughout the field here, and this is a place where it is difficult to make moves, and you definitely want to have track position, but the good drivers and the ones who usually get the race victories are ones who can make passes, and Chris Reynolds trying to do so on Dylan Matthews for second.
Well, you also got to think about this. You know, it's a 20-lap race. We're already on lap 6. You know, so this race is going to go pretty fast. You cannot wait to make a move. If you're going to want to make a move, you got to do it now. That meaning pushing a driver up the track to get the race win, I would do it. So you're seeing the 52 now up to second place here. And if he can get to that 99's bumper, I think he's got a chance.
Well, I mean, if you're Kyle Busch, you did it, but what price do you pay afterwards? Because Ricky Stenhouse Jr. was not too happy about that. Of course, you know, we can throw some virtual punches here, but we always encourage real sportsmanship. Obviously, this is a video game. We like to keep it as such. But, hey, Chris Reynolds doing a great job tonight. That 52 is fast. He got around Dylan Matthews, pulling away from him right now, and he's starting to close in there on Dayton Davidson for that top position. We'll have to see if he can get around him. He's still got 14 laps to go to be able to do it. This guy's definitely cycling out right now throughout the field. Of course, a lot of double wide still in the back. They've yet to figure things out back here. How about our Dash for Cash winner of Corey Case? Running a little bit deeper in the field. Didn't have the best of runs at Charlotte after he won the Dash for Cash at Hillside a couple weeks ago. But you know what? He's a guy who is in championship contention, no doubt about it, trying to find some way around Gran Romero in this championship hunt. But that 87 looking pretty strong right now as he is about to crack the top 10 to the inside there of Duncan Ward. So Romero more than likely is going to extend his points lead at the end of tonight's race. But we'll be seeing some other guys maybe move a bit closer, like Chris Reynolds, especially if he can get this race victory, because he's right there on the back bumper of Zayden Davidson.
Yeah, he's getting really close here.
Oh, he got the bumper.
Wow.
He got the bumper on him right there. Oh, my goodness.
He was leaning on that quarter pound for sure. Anymore, I think that 99 would have went around.
Well, Davidson is thankful that Chris Reynolds did not spin him around in that situation. And honestly, I think Chris Reynolds should be thankful he didn't either, because he could have gotten caught up in that as well. Baltazar Steep trying to make a pass on the outside of Faden. As for the race lead, Chris Reynolds going for it there in the turn 3. Will he be able to make it stick? Thinking about this racetrack, both lines are essentially equal through these corners, and Davidson going a little wide right there, but he's going to try to get a run up top. But here we go. We're going to be side by side across the line. This is going to be tight right here. Wow. I think Chris Reynolds barely led that lap, and he did. And Reynolds trying to take it away here from Davidson. He's got the inside lane this time around, but Davidson's going to hold up top. No, he won't. New race leader here in the Illinois 100, excuse me. It's Chris Reynolds there in the 52 machine.
I don't know, but if I was the 99, I'd be kind of concerned now, knowing that that 52 is very fast, and you got around you. Now you got to work really hard to get that back, but here comes the 39.
Good run for Dylan Matthews here tonight in that 39 machine. She hasn't had the best of seasons, at least earlier on. She got the win in Atlanta. Same weekend, you got your cup win there, Daniel. But since then, it's not been the best of seasons for her. But she's right there in third. You got Andrew Williams moving his way up here. He's looking to take fourth away from Nathan Faden. That 02 of Andrew Williams looking to maybe get some more momentum going on. He's 19th in points, and he's got the same amount of starts as Corey Case, who is 5th in points. So hasn't been the best of runs for Logan's brother right there. Dylan Matthews trying to get around this 99 machine, trying to find a way around Davidson so she can close in on Chris Reynolds, but Reynolds is now pulling away in this 52 machine. And this is a guy, you know, earlier on in the season, a few races ago, I'm like, hey, watch out for Chris Reynolds. He is up there, top 5 in points, and he could really very much have a good season. And you know what? This is really the first time he's been in the position to win a race this season. And once you get one done, you can start racking up a couple of them. And you know what? Chris Reynolds could very well have a good chance of winning this Herr Sprint Series championship. Get back in the Cup Series next year, maybe. Of course, the Sprint Series champion gets a reserve for next season. I know Chris Reynolds would love to have it back. Especially same with Dylan Matthews. Both of those drivers were in the Cup Series full-time last year and moved down to the Sprint Series for this season. Zayden Davis is one of those guys who more likely than not will not win the title, based on the fact that he is a part-time driver who has not made every start, but he is also a guy I think a lot of drivers or a lot of owners next season are looking at possibly trying to take if he is available in the draft. We'll have to see if Zayden Davidson can in fact get in next year's Wawa Cup Series. And hey, you know what? Next thing in line is a silly season for the Turkey Hill Truck Series. That's going to be coming up here very soon. I've already got all the drivers and owners who can come back in that one all set up. We're excited for that one. And Chris Reynolds better be excited. He is pulling away from these guys here in this 52 machine. He's now up to a 1.7 second lead.
Yeah, I think he's pretty much checked out at this point. If I was the 99, I'd be like, yep, we're not going to lead back unless a caution comes out or something magical happens here. But, I mean, Chris Reynolds, you saw it coming. You saw him behind the 99. You saw him behind the 39, Dylan Matthews. And he would just get around them like no problem. And then the next thing you know, he just kept picking at one. And now here he is at the lead. And with these two battling now, if they go side by side, which is going to happen, it's just going to allow him to pull along more.
And he continues to extend that lead. You know, they're not even really side by side. Davidson, I think, is just holding up Matthews. Like I said, this is a very difficult place to make a pass, as evidenced right there. But if you're a driver who can do it, you're probably going to win the race. And that's exactly what Dylan, or should I say Chris Reynolds, did right there. He got around all those guys, and he's now pulling away from the rest of this field right here. At the 0-2 of Andrew Williams now up to 4th. You know, he's another driver who's made some passes here. How about Michael Lewis up to 5th? And Nathan Faden's just continuing to slip back in that one machine there. Maybe not the long-run car you guys hoped for there at Trackhouse Racing. Hey, hopefully it's a little bit better for you tomorrow, or Friday night, I should say, in the Cup race.
Yeah.
Be 60 laps in that one, and the cycle of pit
stops. See how it goes.
Almost 2 seconds now for Chris Reynolds, and with this essentially being a short track, we do not actually, we can do the 2-lap caution here. So we're not at the point of no return quite yet for these guys, but these guys definitely running a clean race so far, and you know what, it's looking pretty good for Chris Reynolds. But hey, after what we've seen so far in the World Wide Cup Series this season, and many other races on the channel, it ain't over till it's over, and Chris Reynolds has about 3.5 laps to go to get this race win.
You can say that again, AG, because at Atlanta, when we were going to that final restart, I couldn't breathe. I'll be honest with you. I was holding my breath, and I was like, come on, I can do this. Next thing I know, bam, got the win. So I know what these drivers are feeling like if a caution were to come out and you have a late restart, but you know it's hard racing. It happens, but you're going to start getting one.
Chris Reynolds, of course, was in the Cup Series last year. Didn't have the best of runs in the Cup Series a year ago, but here he is doing an excellent job this season in the Herr Sprint Series and looking to get his first win of the season. Most of these full-timers now, not all of them, but a good chunk of them have gone to victory lane now. You have, of course, Juan Romero, Brandon Nelson has gone to victory lane, Nathan Faden, Chris Reynolds looking to add his name to that list, Dylan Matthews, Santiago Labarito as well. We're going to leave a couple of guys who are, in fact, full-time who have yet to go to victory lane this season. Of course, a plethora of different racetracks coming up on the schedule. Next week, it's Montreal, Canada. That's a road course, which means there's going to be a cycle of pit stops in that one, which will definitely make things interesting for these guys. Obviously, we had pit stops last week at Charlotte, which definitely made things interesting in that one. Of course, that was a 50-lap race there at Charlotte. This one only 20 laps here tonight. But we're excited for what we got coming up here in the Sprint Series. Of course, Iowa coming up after that, Pikes Peak, Nashville Fairgrounds. We got a lot of road courses and short tracks coming up, and hey, if this is any indication on those types of racetracks, Chris Reynolds is going to be a hard driver to beat as he takes the white flag here in this Illinois 100. 2.5 seconds now on Zayden Davidson here at Gateway.
Like you said, if once we get to those short tracks coming up, he could be racking them up, those wins. So this could be a positive, and this could open floodgates for the 52 Chris Reynolds, and hopefully we get to see him up in the Cup Series next year.
We'll have to see how it all goes down as the season plays out, but it's going to play out fairly well for Chris Reynolds here tonight. Coming out at turn number 4, Chris Reynolds is going to win the Illinois 100 here at Gateway. His first win of the season. He gets it for Durrani Racing. And that was a tight battle there for second. Davidson's going to hold on to the second position ahead of Dylan Matthews with Andrew Williams and Baltazar Steep the top 5. How about Carson Miller up to 6th? And then the 69 of Michael Lewis, Joey Brown, 53 machine of Duncan Ward, and the 1 of Nathan Faden falling all the way back to 10th after starting on the outside pole. Definitely a fascinating little race right there. Chris Reynolds gets it done here at Gateway, and that's definitely going to help him in the points. He's going to gain on Romero, no doubt about it, and Juan Romero, he's going to still be the points leader, of course. Of course, the two guys that are closest to him, Brandon Nelson and Vinny Schultz, who were in this race, both of them. Actually, Vinny was a couple positions behind, so she's going to lose a little bit of ground. And then Brandon Nelson in the 92 was also deep in the field. So Romero's definitely going to extend his points lead. Chris Reynolds is definitely going to move up in the standings, no doubt about it, with this race victory here tonight. And I think he led the most laps as well. Fastest lap, so this is how they'll line up for Montreal, assuming they'll sign up. How about Michael Lewis there? And hey, when we were at Circuit of the Americas, Michael Lewis won the pole for that race, had the pole for that race, and dominated and won that one. Chris Reynolds has the second fastest lap, so how about the Zerani Racing cars? They were definitely up to speed here tonight. 53 machine there of Duncan Ward to get the 90 of Carson Miller, and then Nathan Faden with the fifth fastest time right there. Take a look at the rest of the fastest laps between the drivers in the field, and of course those who do in fact make it into next week's race, they'll line up based on the fastest lap for this one, and everyone else who signs up who was not in this race will be put in the back of the field in the order in which they signed up. Well, Daniel, we saw what happened here tonight. Of course, on Friday night in the Cup Series, we got a cycle of pit stops, which will definitely shake things up. But what did you learn here tonight to maybe take to your advantage in the AAA Missouri 300 on Friday?
Well, I can tell you what I learned. I learned a few things here tonight from the Herr Sprint Series. It looks like that outside line has a little more grip than the inside. You're going to see a lot of side-by-side battling going on. And we could potentially see somebody fly through the field and literally run away with the lead. So if you want to get that lead, you better be on the case right away. So once that green flag drops, you better be going for it. But it's very hard to pass here. We mentioned it, AG. It's going to be hard to pass here. It's one of those tracks that, you know, if you want to make passes or you want to get those positions, you got to get those good restarts if a caution were to happen. You have to get a good restart. If not, you could A, either fall behind in the field, or B, you're going to be stuck in the same position, not make as many passes and let the laps wind down. So I think it's going to be an interesting one. It's going to be a challenging one, but I think we can get this 24 Trackhouse racing car in victory lane.
We're going to have to see if you guys can do it. Of course, unfortunately, I don't want to spoil it for you, but not the best that runs in the Coke 600. So you're right there on that bubble. Of course, you do have that win the fullback as a wild card, but maybe a good run here at Gateway. You'll be back in that top 10. It's going to be a tight battle on that chase. No doubt about it with all those guys. Drew Webb in the middle of that mix as well. You got Braden Perez also there, and those were two guys who won a lot last year. I'm sure you're definitely proud of the success and the progress you've made from last year, obviously.
It's
definitely a lot better for you this year than it was a year ago. But, hey, we'll have to see how it all plays out. I'm excited to see how it all goes down on Friday night at Gateway.
Oh, I mean, that's how the rookie seasons go. But, no, I think we made a lot of good impressions this season. And, you know, we're just going to build off of it, get better and better. And, you know, if we get in the playoffs, we get in the playoffs. It's a big accomplishment, but we know we got to win. We're making progress. So I think you just got to keep going after it and see what happens, you know?
We'll have to see on Friday night.
Yeah.
I promise my announcing will be better. I tell you, I was a little off with this one. You did a great job, Daniel.
Okay.
Thank you so much for joining me. And huge congratulations to Chris Reynolds for getting the race victory here tonight in the Illinois 100. Sign-ups for Montreal coming up in just a couple of minutes, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on AG, the channel. And that'll be next week for the Quebec Grand Prix, I believe is the name of the race for the 19th race of the season. That'll be a fascinating one for the Sprint Series leading into the Cup Series race next weekend as well. But this Friday night, we've got Gateway in the Wall Cup Series for the AAA Missouri 300. We'll have to see how it all goes down here in St. Louis. Thank you guys so much for watching once again. Congratulations to Chris Reynolds. Here are the points standings for the Herr Sprint Series after 18 races. On behalf of Daniel Paulus Jr., I will see you guys later.